Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone Talks on the Null Zone. And we are here to talk about the ratings for the latest episode, 73 yards. There's been talk about the AI, and it looks like, folks, that there definitely is people out there lying about the ratings of Doctor Who and how well it's actually doing. The lowest the AI got on the Jodie Whittaker era, if I'm correct in saying, because we covered it, I think the lowest was 78. Now I think it was 78 or 77, but that's the lowest that it's ever gotten. But I remember it was only for an episode or two, and then it crawled its way back up to the 80 AI mark. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that the people that have been putting out the ratings are obviously not either getting the right information or they're suppressing the information, which means they're lying to the general audience. Just to give you a clue of how bad it is, I will read this out to you. Disney Who is now regularly outpaced by BBC's lead propaganda BBC News. It was the sixth most watched programme on British TV yesterday and was the 28th most watched show of the week of the time of transmission. So it's 28 overall in a week. Now, rumours are circulating that the Space Babies AI was 74 and the Devil's Cord, its AI, was 73, lower than Jodie's worst. If true, this would effectively confirm rumours that the usual source who have provided this data since 2005 have been suppressed. So it seems like that the people that we rely on for the ratings are either being suppressed or they're suppressing how bad the show actually is. Now, you've heard I've seen all of these accounts and I've seen streams where fans hilariously are trying to spin these ratings. Now, fans believe that we should wait until the 28-day figure comes out. But if the AI is so low, you've already lost the battle. Doctor Who is on a downward spiral. Now, obviously, this week's episode fared a little bit better, and there was a little uptake in the ratings. Now, not by much. Got to make that clear. It's not the biggest jump, but there was an uptake on the ratings, and they came in at the overnights came in at 2.62 million. So there you go. Now, here it has the other ratings for the other episodes. So episode 1 started with 2.6 million, right? So the fourth episode has gained an extra 200,000 on the first episode. But plus 7 TV only, the Space Babies got 3.71 million according to the numbers, and the plus 7 TV plus 4 screen got just over 4 million, so 4.01 million. And then you can see then for the 7-day figures and the other figures, they're declining there as well. So there's a decline in those figures. The AI apparently has declined as well. So the big accounts out there, right, that are shilling this and saying that it's doing well, it's not doing well, folks. The show is in an awful state. They're suppressing. Listen, we already know from Lee, problem being's little investigation, that they added on numbers to the 60th anniversary special to make it better than what it actually was. And it seems like that this is the trick that they're going to pull with this, or they're just going to use the Disney thing. They always suppress ratings, and that's what it looks like is happening here. So all of this talk of the show being healthy internationally and doing well is an absolute lie. The show is in an awful state, and it's not going to recover because of the previous 5 years and because RTD is just so intent on pushing a message. And if you're so intent of pushing a message, then rather than writing a good sci-fi show, people are going to see right through that and people are going to switch off. And that's exactly what's happening here. Okay? The ratings are not good. No matter which way you spin them, they're bad. Right? They're bad. They're absolutely awful. And the fact that there are fans out there trying desperately to tell everybody that, oh no, this show isn't as bad as people. They're just hating on it because they don't like shooting because they're racist, or they don't like the show because they're anti-trans and all of this other rubbish. Right? The bottom line is that RTD has not delivered. The point is that Doctor Who fans and the general audience are fed up with Doctor Who. 28, placed 28 after a week. 28, folks. Doctor Who, 28. Okay? This isn't the victory just because, you know, they came out all these internet. Oh, we finished in the top 10 in this country and that country and that country. Yeah. But how many actually watched? We never know how many actually tuned in. And what people don't realise is that after the overnights anyway, right, the rest of the figures are fudged anyway, because, as I said, you put on BBC iPlayer, right? You watch Doctor Who for what? There's a threshold, but you watch it for that number a couple of minutes and then you switch off. That counts as a view. It'll be the same with Disney Plus. So you're not actually getting the true number of who's watching after the fact. That's why the overnights, and there has been, this is why the overnights are a big deal, but they want you to forget about the overnights now. But this is why overnights were essential, right? This is why when hit TV shows during the 70s and 80s on BBC and ITV, you know, overnights were everything. If you got the best overnights, you won that weekend, right? But now fans out there are trying to tell you, oh, the overnights don't mean that. TV habits have changed. Yeah, but even with TV habits changed, the numbers are down across the board for this show. And I do believe that they're suppressing the numbers, and it's a lot worse than what we actually think it is, right? And I don't even believe that 2 million figure. I don't even think 2 million people are actually tuning in for the overnights. I don't think they are at all. Right? I think the show is that bad. Right? And this is the way it's going to be. That people are fed up. I said this show needs to go back to basics. People don't want the message anymore. People want Doctor Who to tell good sci-fi stories now. They're sick of all the nonsense. They've been force-fed this shite in Hollywood and in everywhere for the past 7-8 years, and they've had enough of it now. They want Doctor Who to go back to what it was, right? And he's not producing that. It's as simple as that. He's not producing that. And the numbers are reflecting it. And I'm telling you, the numbers are worse. The numbers are worse. So I don't care, you know, about these YouTubers out there. We know who they are. They're the usual suspects. You know, they try desperately. And then they say, oh, but if you want the further breakdown of the numbers, don't visit me Patreon. Right? Because that's what it's all about for them. They just want to exploit fans and make money out of them. Right? I'm telling you the truth. The bottom line is this show is not as good as everybody's making it out to be ratings-wise. It's absolutely shocking. It's poor. And it is poor anyway. I said that if the RTD era managed to get 6 million overnights, right, and it was consistent around that number, even if it fell by even 500,000, 5.5 to 6 million in overnights is what I expected. Right? I don't expect Doctor Who to go back to its heyday when it had 11, 12 million viewers. right, in some cases, right? It's not that popular anymore, right, because of the previous years that we've had, right? But I thought 5.5, 6 million is respectable in overnights. But we're not even getting that. We're not even getting that. So sorry, as I said, especially the other side, you may have all lowered your standards, right, and accept this shit as Doctor Who. But I can tell you, the majority of the people in the UK and around the world have turned their backs on this show, and so has the fandom. When Shooty told fans to go out and touch grass, that's exactly what they did. They took his advice and they went out and did something else on a Saturday night, right? It's as simple as that. They're sick of being told that they're racist. They're sick of being told that they're this, that, and the other, and they've just said enough is enough, right? And they've had enough. And as I said, I see that. Obviously, we have the review on Wednesday, so I'm not going to say much. But I have seen, as I predicted Saturday night, or Friday night, I should say, that 73 yards was going to be very polarizing, and a lot of fans were either going to love it or they were going to absolutely hate it, and or there was going to be people confused by it and all of this, and that's all transpired, right? It's all transpired. Wednesday's panel is going to be very actually interesting, got to say. But for me, while there were issues, and I admitted that there were issues, for me, I like this one better than that RTD has written so far, right? Including Moffat's episode, right? I thought this was the episode that did show improvement, but I want to make clear though when I say that, because I didn't actually make it clear on Saturday night. When I say improvement though, I'm comparing it to Whitaker's offerings. I'm not going to compare it to RTD's previous offerings, because if I was to do that, then this was below average, to be quite honest. So I'm judging it off what's came before, and what's came before this is better, right? But this is nowhere near where Doctor Who needs to be, right? Want to make that clear. Even though I did enjoy Friday's episode, I want to make it clear this show is in dire straits. I don't see an improvement. I really don't. And if that's the best that we've got, right, because RTD bigged this up that this was the best thing he's written for Doctor Who, so therefore he's conceded that the rest that he's written is shit, right? So if that's the best that he's got, well, his best is not good enough, folks, is it? We have to concede that his best is just not good enough. Therefore, he's got 2 seasons in the pipeline. I don't know if he said he's writing the 3rd season. Could that be his last? Could something else happen with Doctor Who's future? I don't know. But if that's the best that he has, well, then he's way below standard. He's way below standard. I only enjoyed that episode for the fact that it had a bit of tension about it. Shooty wasn't in it, and I thought Millie was very good. I did like Millie's performance, and I'm not going to sit here and slay her when I actually did enjoy her performance. I did enjoy it when it was in the pub. I will agree with some people. Once it left the pub and left that little village, the whole tone of the episode kind of did change, and as someone did rightly point out and say, it's just a pity that it didn't stay in the village. But I suppose for the plot to move on, it needed to go back into Millie's life and all of that. But I did look. I'm not, as I said, I still haven't changed my mind. I did enjoy it, but again, in saying that, the reason why I think I enjoyed it was because RTD was correct about one thing when he did say that this wasn't your typical Doctor Who episode. I've got to agree. I don't think it was your typical Doctor Who episode, because this was completely something different, and we got into the fantasy realm and witchcraft and all of that. nonsense. So it was different to anything that the Doctor Who that's ever came before. But that's not saying much. Again, as I said, you know, if this wasn't called Doctor Who and this was something else, we'd all be praising it and saying, yeah, we'd love to see what happened next week. You know, if it was a continuous series, but it was only one episode. And even as one episode, it still had its problems. I mean, there is a lot of fucking plot holes, I'm not going to lie. And I'm not ignoring the plot holes, by the way. But I did enjoy it. And maybe some people criticise me, well, if I had plot holes, how could you have enjoyed it? I enjoyed Millie's performance. I've got to be honest, I thought she was very good. I even said I wasn't convinced by Millie, and I hadn't been convinced by Millie's performances. But I tell you, she threw out a good performance, and I tell you, she did win me over. Got to be honest, she won me over. Shooty, I don't think is going to win me over. It's just the way he's being asked to play it. If he played it traditionally, I think I'd be behind him all the way. But RTD wanted him to play it this way, and he just keeps crying all the time. That throws me off as a Doctor Who fan. So, you know, it's still not saying a lot, is it? Switch of direction in the middle ruined it for me. That's what I mean, yeah. That's what I mean. It did keep its tension. And I mean, I'm not ignoring the fact that the British Prime Minister, the future Prime Minister, was an evil man, because they made it clear, you know, RTD just couldn't help himself comparing this fella to Trump, you know. And I know that was in there. And there was even another line about Christianity. Again, he had another go at Christianity as well. I'm not ignoring that. They will be me negatives when I talk about this episode, right? There were negatives, right? But I've got to ask myself when I watched it, did the negatives outweigh what I enjoyed? And I have to say this week they didn't. I am a bit frustrated about a few things. You know, I would have liked a bit of a resolution, and RTD has made it clear he's never going to tell us what that woman was whispering to everybody that made them run away, which I think is absolutely stupid, to be quite honest with you, because I thought, right, if he doesn't explain in this episode, I will kind of give him a pass for that if it's going to be explained later on, right? And it's part of the fucking plot, but seems to be not. So, you know, there are a few things, like, you know, I'm not, as I said, I'm not sitting here and saying this was perfect by any means of the imagination, right? But this show is, guys, ratings-wise, back to the ratings. Let's swing back to what we're talking about, though. This show is in deep trouble, and, you know, I don't think it's going to recover. Now, we'll wait for the AI to start coming out, but it seems unusual that the AI hasn't come out for some of the episodes already, because they did for the Jodie Whittaker era, and it does seem a bit unusual that we're not getting AI ratings right now. So over 90 is considered exceptional. 85 or over is excellent. 60 or less is poor. And less than 55 is pretty poor. Now, if Doctor Who is in the 73, 74 mark, like some people are predicting, well, that would be considered poor or average, if you were to put it that way. So it's not doing well. And it's unusual for the AI. As far as I know, it is, because I remember even Jordan when it dipped, because there was a big talking point in the fandom when it dipped down to the 70s for the Whittaker era. So the AI is being suppressed as we even speak now. Right? The AI should be at least out for episode 1, right? And it's not. And as I said, if you look at the seven nights and then the TV plus 4, there's a decline there. So the decline is going down. It's going down, guys. So even when the fans are saying, "Oh, they're not watching it. They're not watching it on the night of broadcast. They're watching it during the week and at different times." And some people have even said, right, this is the ridiculous argument I heard. Someone even said that, oh no, they'll wait until the 28 day figures come in, because that's what the show is going to be judged on from now on, and even the 28 day figure will not be great, right? Okay, if there's a decline in all of them all the way through. Now we've gotten obviously the one that RTD bigged up 73 yards has gotten 2.662 million, so it's up by 200,000 on the first episode, or 20,000 maybe on the first episode. So it's not good. Do you know what I mean? Still, that's disgraceful. But as I said, let's get back to reality, folks. Right? He said that was the best thing he wrote. Right? So if that's the best he wrote and people still have problems with it, even I do, even though I enjoyed it, then we're in trouble, folks. There's no doubt about it that this show is in trouble. And, you know, as I said, it's an easy fix. Right? I don't care if you upset these so-called fans out there, the Rainbow Brigade and all of these other factions, right? I don't care, right? This is a simple fix, right? Simple as this, right? Stop with all the messaging shit, right? And just go back to writing good stories. Doctor Who fans, even as I was saying, watching it, again, the episode looked beautiful, right? Looked beautiful, right? Can't complain. It's the nicest Doctor Who has ever looked. And you know what? It is lovely. I'm not going to lie. But for me, that's not the big thing. I don't give a shit about special effects. I actually don't, right? For me as a Doctor Who fan, see, this was the thing about Star Trek and Doctor Who for me, right? The original series, I'm re-watching the original series. The special effects in that were absolutely awful, right? Some of the monsters were absolutely awful looking, right? But it didn't take away from the story. It didn't take away from the character development because they were top notch, right? The simple solution to this is this, right? You get rid of all the activist writers that are on the show right now, right? You get rid of the activists full stop, right? You get rid of RTD, has to be done, right? So BBC, this is up to you now, because it's still, even though Disney have the distribution rights and have a bit of a say, at the end of the day, it's still your IP, right? So you've got a decision to make, right? And that decision to me is very easy. And that's the sack RTD. It has to happen. If you want to save the show, listen, if you guys want Doctor Who to keep going, right, because you believe in it, right? Because it seems to me that you do believe in it. But what I can't understand is why you're not getting the right person in there to actually safeguard this show for you and to make you a ton of money. I mean, the BBC can't afford to have another flop on their hands. Neither can Disney, right? Disney can't afford to have another flop, right? And this is flopping hard, right? So you got a decision to make, right? It's either you treat Doctor Who with respect and you treat its fans with respect. And I can guarantee you, by the way, right? If you write a good, decent sci-fi show and get the right people in to look after this show, right? Forget about chasing the audience that you're chasing. You will gain an audience because you've written something of value. You've written something that people can get behind, right? These people that you're pandering to do not like sci-fi, right? Every time I see them talk on social media, it's always about who the Doctor's going to hump next, or who the companion's going to hump, or whether they've got pronouns or whatever. right? No Doctor Who fan gives a shit about that stuff, right? I don't care how you how it comes across. At the end of the day, me as a sci-fi geek don't want to be listening about biology and listening and being told that men can be women, right? I don't tune in to watch Doctor Who for that, right? I tune in to watch the Doctor save planets, save people, get himself into a couple of scrapes and get out of it in his fucking Tardis with a companion. That's what I watch it for, right? I don't watch it for a biology lesson. I don't watch it for fucking climate fucking nonsense, right? I watch it for sci-fi. And the one thing that I will bring up on Wednesday, and I'll bring it up briefly here. Remember, this is a family TV show, but yeah, RTD thought it was appropriate to show a man in power, basically indicating in the show that the woman was somehow violated by this man. Actually, it wasn't somehow, it was there. It was clear what message you were saying, but this is a family show. And RTD had no problem of inserting that agenda in because he happens to hate some fucking orange man across the fucking pond. Right? That's how petty and fucking ridiculous this man is. Right? And I don't give a shit what your personal opinions are on Trump or anything over there. Right? I don't care what your personal opinions are on the trans issue or fucking climate change or any of that other nonsense, right? I tune in to watch Doctor Who, right? To watch some sci-fi, right? To escape from all the shit that's happening around the world, right? When I switch on my TV for 55 minutes, I expect to be entertained. Not to have messages shoved down my fucking throat every 5 fucking minutes. And I'll tell you, right, here's the fucking weird, the stupid thing about it is what everybody knows, right? No matter what you think of the orange man, right? But everybody knows that he's been fucked around with the last couple of years and they've tried out to get him into prison, right? But I don't care how you feel about him. I don't care what your opinion is on that. Right, you're there to write a sci-fi show, RTD, and if you're incapable of writing a sci-fi show, then I suggest you pack your bags and get the fuck out, and you pull your studio out, right? Because we're all sick and tired of your nonsense now, right? And I'm telling you right now, see that 2.62, that's your improvement right there, and that's how good it's gonna fucking get. Right? Because you've already told Doctor Who fans that's the best thing you've written. So if that's the best thing you've written and it's polarized the fans, and it's divided even some of your own fucking support base, well, we're in serious trouble then if that's the best that you got. And I can tell you now, on behalf of all the fans, your best isn't good enough. Your best isn't good enough. It's not good enough. Right? So if you really care about this show, right, and you claim to be a fan, well then do the right thing, right? After you've written your shit, just tell them that you're stepping down. Right? Step down, do the right thing, and take your fucking crew with you. The weird thing is, folks, is that RTD would not get a job on another sci-fi show. And that's a fact. He wouldn't get a job on another sci-fi show. Who would hire him? You think Alex Kurtzman and all them that do Star Trek would hire him? No, they wouldn't hire him. They have nothing to do with him. Right? Star Wars writers, would they have anything to do with him? No, they wouldn't. Sure, they wouldn't. No, because he's not a sci-fi writer. But in saying that, though, they do hire people that aren't sci-fi writers. Yeah, you never know. He might fail upwards anyway, RTD, because that's what seems to happen with people now. You hear people that ruin franchises now get promoted up. Do you know what I mean? There's no consequence when they destroy a franchise. Do you know what I mean? They get promoted up, they do. Hang on, I'm just melting some ice here because I need to get a drink. But he'll be promoted or something, or he'll be given another job, same place. But that's what happens. You can fail upwards now. I mean, it's even the same in football, right? There's a fella that was managing Burnley, right? And apparently he's getting a top job with Bayern Munich, but he got his team relegated, and now he's being handed one of the top footballing jobs in Europe. So you can fail upwards nowadays, folks. Do you know, I wish I had been born this time, because, you know, if I had failed, I would have known, oh, it's all right. Wouldn't have to work me bollocks off, because I know all I had to do was fail upwards. Do you know what I mean? You don't even have to achieve anything. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how RTD has gotten this job. And look, he's not. I know there's been rumours going around by some YouTubers and all saying he's getting sacked. Listen, he's not getting sacked. He won't get sacked. That's the thing. That's the sad thing about it. They're not going to sack him now. There's a deal in place, you know, and until that deal includes RTD and Bad Wolf Studios. And until that deal either needs to be renewed, you know, or Disney decide that they don't want to go forward with it anymore. So that's the decision that has to be made. But that decision won't be made anytime soon, folks. Right? You seen Disney how they do things. They don't care if shit fails. Right? They'll keep flogging a dead horse for as long as they can. And then eventually they'll just say, oh yeah, we've moved to somewhere else or whatever, or if we decided not to move forward with it, blah, blah, blah. The excuses will come then. And then it'll be interesting when Disney does dump out all these shills that have been defending it. I wonder what their excuse will be then. Right? Yeah. I do my own flavoured water, so I bought a few limes and lemons and stuff like that. You know, hydrated. You know yourself. It's the summer. Now, so let's see. Look, there's some of us out there that believe that Chris Chibnall was placed in there to do what he did, so he'd open the door to these lads then again, and then the shackles would be off. I think it may have been. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say it was a definite plan, but I wouldn't be surprised. XSM, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Marcus there, well, hi there. Well, I've listened to this channel when Whittaker was the doctor, and you were hoping for an improvement when she and Chibnall had gone. What do you think now? As it stands right now, I would say that the improvement has probably been slight, but that's kind of stretching it a bit. I look, all I could say is, yeah, I was hopeful. You're right. I think we all were. But as it got closer to the series, I think we all realised very quickly that this was going to be a train wreck, unfortunately. And it actually has transpired that way, you know, in my opinion. But you know, this is what we're getting now for 2-3 years with Disney. So I mean, it doesn't matter how bad it is. It's going to continue. It's just the sad thing about it is, I suppose, is that there was a real opportunity to do something unique here with the show, especially with the budget. You could have made this really one of the top shows. You know, there would be no need for spin and all of this. You could have very easily made it a top show. All you had to do was go back to basics and just write a show that that the fans could get behind first of all, and the rest will follow. See, all of these studios are just so determined to chase an audience that's not there, and an audience that's fickle as well. Remember, as soon as the showrunner puts their foot out of place, which RTD has done, he has had to deal with the wrath of the LGBTQ plus side and the Jody bots for doing things that they didn't like. So they've even tried to cancel him. And these were the same people actually that threatened him and David Tennant's life when they found out that he was actually taking over the show, because how dare they replace Jodie Whittaker with another male doctor was their attitude. But as soon as you start pandering to them with their LGBTQ plus rights, they actually then did what they did with Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall. They blew smoke up gas. And now you see, those people will defend them, as much as possible. But I'm even seeing now that even some of them are starting to question RTD. There was even some to suggest that fans like myself who criticised RTD and who criticised Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, owed Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall an apology because the show was so bad. And as I responded to them and the last time, and I'll say it again, we don't owe Chibs or Jodie Whittaker any sort of apology. The reason why we're in the situation we're in now is because Chris Chibnall's rubbish opened it up for RTD to do all of this rubbish with witchcraft and all of this other nonsense, right? Because of his timeless child shy and every other bit of crap that he put in his. So no, those two do not deserve an apology. They're responsible still. Chris Chibnall mostly is responsible for the downfall of this show. But I'm starting to believe that he was put in there deliberately to do what he did. So the show would be in such a state, RTD to come back, and then they just basically do. He knew that the show would be so bad that BBC would have to get help off someone to produce this show. And RTD saw his opportunity, got Bad Wolf involved, and then the Disney deal then basically cemented his place then there, and that was it. Right? So yeah, I'm starting to believe a lot of people have believed that for a long time, that maybe this was the case, and I was kind of like, maybe. I never ruled it out fully, but to come up with such an elaborate plan like that, I mean, you'd want to be really, then you don't have, look, if it's true, then that tells me one thing, that RTD, Chris Chibnall, and even Stephen Moffat don't actually care about Doctor Who and have been faking it all these years. Because even Stephen Moffat couldn't help himself. Now, whether that was him or not, though, because we have been trying to defend Moffat over that, because we do believe BBC did push some of the agenda in his show, but I don't know if he pushed the agenda in Boom, but it was clear as day, and it was clear for everybody to see that the agenda was there. Look, he couldn't just write a story with the Doctor on a landmine for 45 minutes without having a go at Christianity and all the other stuff he had to go at. Right? Just couldn't make it, build up the tension, keep the tension going throughout the whole fucking episode, and then think whether the Doctor and Ruby are going to die, and it would have been great. But no, he had to throw in his own little fucking nonsense about religion and all of this, relationships, and just dropping lesbian in the conversation just to have the word lesbian in it. And this is what I'm talking about. Nothing is thought out. nothing is done to move the show forward or for the benefit of the show, right? And then fans wonder why we give out. I've only noticed that now. My cup goes blue when it's frozen. Nice. Even in 73 yards, we had Kate saying mankind was invented by God. Yeah, yeah. Well, we will be getting into Kate Stewart, unit, and all of the other stuff in relation to 73 yards on our panel review on Wednesday. So look out for that. But look, all I'm just going to say is that even after all of this time, and I know there's fans out there say no, it will never recover. As I said, it might take the next showrunner a long time to win fans over. But if the next showrunner was to write consistent stories, sci-fi stories that we could get behind, word of mouth would spread, and maybe you could get fans back and maybe get 6-7 million in overnights watching this, and that I would consider that a success in the current climate that we're in now with Doctor Who fans and the British public and the wider public in general. So, I'll always be the optimist and say there's still a chance to save this if you get the right people in. But that window, it's probably already closed. But I'll stay optimistic because, there has to be someone out there right now that's like us, that's watching this and is a sci-fi writer, right? And is watching the current state of Doctor Who and is as heartbroken as we are, right? Because they understand where this show should go and how it should be written. And, maybe one day there's someone out there that will come along and give this show the due respect that it deserves. Remember, this show is not for fanboys. I'm sorry, right? This show is not for RTD, Stephen Moffat, Chris Chibnall, and people like that to think they can do whatever they want with it, right? I'm sorry, that's not what this is all about. You're in there to safeguard the legacy of the show and safeguard the legacy of all the men that played the role of the Doctor. That's what you do, and you hand it over safely to the next person that's going to do the exact same thing as you did, safeguard the show, right? That's the way it should be. It's not to be used as a personal platform to get your own personal opinions across and your own hatred across, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. This is RTD using Doctor Who as a projection tool to project his own anger and his own hatred on wider society and the rest of us, because there happens to be a pushback on certain ideologies out there that we believe that are harmful to children and harmful to women, right? Now, if you want to push that shit in your private life and all of that, go ahead. But once it doesn't interfere with Doctor Who, I don't give a shit, right? But it is interfered with Doctor Who, so I do give a shit. So we'll push back against it, and other fans will push back against it, because this is not what Doctor Who should be. Now, if you can't go back to what Doctor Who should be, as I said earlier on, it's time for you to step down and do the right thing. Tell people that that's it. You're doing you're 2 series in the can, and you've left. And you're taking your crew with you, and you're done. The BBC and Disney, then, BBC, you want to be a bit more assertive with the old Disney there, no matter how big they think they are, right? And you bring in proper sci-fi writers, right? And you hire a showrunner that's never had any connection to Doctor Who whatsoever, right? But has directed or has put a team together of sci-fi writers and created a hit show, or created some great stories out there. There are plenty of fans out there as well that have done, sci-fi concepts and all this, little short films and all that. There's even fans out there doing better stuff than what the current showrunner is doing, right? And it's absolutely disgraceful. Now, I've seen another writer there complaining, not in relation to Doctor Who, but having a go at the fact that nobody is going out to watch the new Mad Max movie. Well, started criticising the audience and all of this, right? The bottom line is this, right? And if you don't hear this, this is your problem, right? Nobody wanted a spin-off movie with a character in it that wasn't Mad Max, right? Whether you like it or not, the reason why people like the Mad Max franchise is because it was Mad Max. End of story, right? Mel Gibson obviously played the original Mad Max before they got Tom Hardy then to play the Mad Max Fury Road, which I didn't. Look, I know some people like that movie, but I didn't like it, to be quite honest with you, right? But that's just personal taste. But nobody wants to see any of the side characters, right? It's as simple as that, right? People want to see Mad Max to see Mad Max. And this is why the movie is not doing well. So instead of actually taking it on the chin and saying, okay, maybe we made a mistake here, maybe we should make another Mad Max movie rather than make spin-offs and all of this other shit, right? You decided to do what you always do and criticize the audience, right? Telling them basically they don't know what they want. Well, the audience have told you what they want. They told you that they want a Mad Max movie with Mad Max, right? It's called Mad Max for a reason. It's not called, oh, Mad Max, but Mad Max is not in a movie, is it? No, it's not. It's called Mad Max. It's like having a Superman movie without Superman. It wouldn't be a fucking Superman movie now, would it? Right? This is how stupid you are in Hollywood. Right? We'll decide what the audience want. No, you won't decide what the audience want. The audience have told you what they want. Right? They told you what they want. They want a Mad Max movie, so give them a Mad Max movie. If you can't give them a Mad Max movie, then you forget about the Mad Max franchise. Right? Simple as fucking that. Right? Sick and tired of these studios dictating what we want. And now the new thing, they think we all want sequels and reboots and remakes. Right? No, we don't. No, we don't. Right? The bottom line is that fans out there, we're open to trying new stuff all the time. Right? It's why there's so many franchises out there that actually have become franchises because those movies have been successful. Right? But you just can't make a decent movie nowadays. It's actually, you know, right, I'll rephrase. You make a decent movie the odd time. But the majority of the time, the movies are absolutely shite because there's always some sort of mess. Because you can't just make a movie to make a movie. It doesn't matter what the topic is, you have to insert some sort of agenda. So, you know, that's just where I am on it. I didn't like the Tom Hardy movie anyway, so like, you know, I don't really give a shit. But just using that as an example. You know, it's just, you know, apparently there's rumours of another never-ending story movie. Nobody asked for that, right? There's even talks, and this has been going on a few years, but talks of a Flight of the Navigator movie, but instead of David being the main character and who was a bloke, now they're going to change it to a girl because, you know, why not, apparently. You know, but it probably won't be just a girl. It won't be a white girl anyway. Let's just put it that way, right? Because that's Hollywood today. Do you know what I mean? And this is what we're talking about, right? There's a great opportunity to capitalize on something. I know this is going to be controversial to say, but a few years ago, I think it was an AT&T ad in America, and he did a little ad with E.T., and E.T. returned to Elliot, but Elliot had grown up obviously and had a family of his own, and it was a great little ad, right? It was brilliant. I even cried at the end of it and all of it, right? I'm not going to lie. That Christmas I was very emotional anyway, but That got me, right? And I thought, you know what? If you want to make a sequel, right, of a movie, you've got one right there, right? But the problem is the problem is they probably fucking just shove some agenda in fucking ET now. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. There have been opportunities to make sequels to certain movies, and don't get me wrong, the sequels to movies that I would absolutely love to see, but not in current Hollywood climate. Absolutely not. Because yeah, listen, if you're a fan of the new movie, man, that's I'm not saying don't like it. What I'm saying is the audience are saying if you're gonna have if you're gonna put something with the name Mad Max in it, then they expect Mad Max. So, at the end of the day, that's just the way. That's just the way. It is right now. No, can't bear to see a CGI ET. I don't know if the ET in the ad was CGI, but it was pretty good. I have to say it was very good. It was very good. I loved that ad. It's one of my favorite Christmas ads. I have to say, I loved it. I loved it. Um, there's a shorter version and then there's the longer version. Obviously, watch the longer version, but the last two episodes, Mark, are being shown in the cinema. You're right, absolutely. They show at 11 p.m. on the Friday, 21st of June. Actually the day of my birthday. So my birthday is going to be ruined. Thanks, RTD, because he's dropping the last two episodes. Beetlejuice 2 looks good. Well, I watched the trailer with Cheryl and I didn't like it. I actually didn't like it. There's something, I don't know what it was. There just something seemed off about it. Something just seemed off about it. Now, I did watch the Axel F trailer, Beverly Hills Cop. That looked actually very interesting. But one thing I didn't like is it seems to be they've always complained about Beverly Hills Cop 3, and it went a bit too, it was too much comedy in it, and it looks like Eddie Murphy is kind of playing it the same way as Beverly Hills Cop 3, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I don't mind him being funny and sticking the banana up the tailpipe like he did in the car and stuff like that and doing his shit. But I don't know. I've just felt as those movies have went on, they've kind of gotten less grittier. And this movie looks like it's going to have a lot of action in it, but I don't think there's going to be that grittiness to it. And I've always loved the first movie because of the grittiness of it. So even though there is comedy in it, but Eddie Murphy is very toned down. Do you know what I mean? Whereas he seems over the top here again, like he was in Beverly Hills Cop 3. And I don't know, but the trailer didn't impress me, you've got to say. But I was not impressed by the Beetlejuice 2 trailer. I'm just going to be honest. I've seen the two trailers now, and the first trailer I didn't really do anything for me. And I have to say, this second trailer didn't do it for me either. But look, trailers are not everything. And they're not an indicator. Maybe the trailers are done that way deliberately. But, yeah, I wasn't impressed. So there is another Mad Max movie in 2027, apparently, folks. It's called Mad Max The Wasteland. And early Eddie Murphy was good, but he gets worse as he goes along his career. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. I mean, he's in a great movie with what's his face, Martin Lawrence, called Life, where the two of them they get accused of murdering someone and they get locked up for life, and they're in prison, and it's a Deadly little movies. Haven't seen it. It is worth checking out. I've always said I think that's one of his best performances. Him and Martin Lawrence, actually. I think it's one of their best performances in a movie. I'm not saying it is the best performance, but it's one of the best performances for me in a movie. So if you haven't seen Life, check it out. It's a great little movie. It's actually sad as well, but it is a great little movie. But yeah, there are one or two movies that a lot of movies get released around June 18th, June 21st, around that time when my birthday is. So there's a lot of movies that come out around my birthday. Um, and if I'm correct in saying, I think there's only one or two that I'm actually excited about. And the rest, again, summer blockbusters. I don't. I think Hollywood is going to be in a lot of trouble after this summer. This is where they try to get the bums on the seats with our big summer blockbusters. But I don't think they're getting bums on seats. And listen, while again, you have the media out there and critics out there, they still kind of accuse the pandemic of being responsible for cinema numbers being low. But that's bullshit, right? We have seen already if they make great movies, the cinema gets packed out. The bottom line is that people are just not interested in the type of movies that are being made right now. I think people are sick of Marvel. I think people are sick of DC. I think everybody is sick of everything right now, you know, because they just can't make art without sticking something in it. And people are fed up. And that's why you're not getting bums in seats. And, it's sad for the cinema chains, because they're the ones that will suffer at the end of the day and the ones that will have to, close down. And then those workers that work in there then lose a bleeding job. See, people don't realise, the effect that this will have on people lower down. It always affects the little people, the people in the people that the studios don't think are important, and then they wonder why. Yeah, look, if I was a strategist for Disney would be out of their situation within a few years, right? The bottom line is I'd go in there and the first act would be to sack every single person that is an activist. I would actually sack Kathleen Kennedy as well straight away. Actually, that would be my first job, right? For Star Wars fans, I'd do that for years. I would sack Kathleen Kennedy on the spot, and anybody that's had anything to do with the current shite that they've thrown out. They'd be all out on their ear, right? They'd be all out on their ear. But then, of course, if RTD was there with Doctor Who while I was there, he'd be the second one to go. And all of his team sacked, gone. I'd go to BBC, say, listen, I'm not happy with this. I'm bringing in sci-fi writers. You want a popular show? You want a global show? I'll show you global. Get rid of them all. See, that's what a lot of these studios have to do, right? But it's not as easy to do that, though. I know me saying that, and people think, yeah, that'd be great now, right? But it's not easy, folks, because you see what would happen then is because these people play the victim all the time. They like to take out the victim card. So then they'll start saying that they're being dismissed unfairly and they're being discriminated against because of their political ideology and all of this shite. This is why it's not so easy for the industry to get rid of them all, right? But you can get rid of the majority of them anyway, because the majority of them have been negligent in their work anyway. You just have to look at the evidence of ratings and money wasted on franchises that have done nothing. So you could get a lot of them on that, on negligence. and failure to do their job properly, right? But there'll be some that'll be able to hang on because, there's always a few stragglers. So it would take a few years to clear the industry of all of these people, because as I said, the left are good at one thing, right? They're good at infiltrating and they're good at organising. And I will say us on the other side are the perceived right, which I don't think any of you are right wing in the chat, by the way. It's just we're perceived right because there's no middle ground with these muppets, right? But our side, we we haven't been as good as organising. It's only in the latter years that our side has gotten good at organising, and that's the thing. These lefties have had years to infiltrate different parts of society, different parts of the entertainment industry, the music industry, the educational industry, government, media. They're everywhere, right? But it's taken them years to do that. But now, now that they're in that position now and they're getting a bit of pushback. Remember, the left were winning for a long, long time, right? And you're able to do most of the stuff that they were able to do unopposed, or because they were too strong and nobody could actually, stop them. Now it's a different ball game, because in every country, in every part of society, there's pushback now, right? So they're not as strong, and we're saying that they are a minority, right? And we are the majority, and that's why you got people like RTD in the industry now trying to push back, using Doctor Who to try push back. But what he doesn't realise is that you've already lost, because the whole world has awakened to all of this lunacy and has said enough is enough. See, the biggest mistake that the left made was act like a bunch of dictators and say that there was no debate, and say that there was no room for discussion, because of years of being told that the public, society as a whole, has gotten sick and tired of that narrative, has gotten sick and tired of the blatant lies, and they're raising up as scumbags who don't deserve to be raised up at all, and use those people then to form a movement that went and terrorized the whole world, not just the United States. And we're seeing the effects of that now, even today, right? You'll see that there's a lot more racial crime against white people than ever before. And of course, the lefties will say, oh, well, you can't be racist to white people. You can. If you're discriminating against someone's skin color, right? That's racism. Right? It doesn't matter what color your skin is. Who said that black people have the monopoly on racism? They don't. They don't. My country was enslaved for 800 years. Right? We're white people. We were enslaved for 800 years. Right? So the people that enslaved us, were they not racist? You most certainly were racist. I mean, they tried to starve us to death. We had food in this country. Our potato crop failed. That's why they called it the potato famine, because they didn't want to admit what it actually was. People talk that word genocide. Well, that's what they tried to do with my people. Right? And why? Because we were Irish. Right? That's discrimination. That's racism. So I hate to burst all the black people's bubbles out there, but racism is not exclusive to one skin color. And what we've seen over the last couple of years is black people take racism to the extremists now. Day after day, we see video after video, news report after news report, right? People ending up in hospital. And why? because they happen to be white. But that's the society that they've created, the left. And then Hollywood then enforces all of this with their bullshit, and then tries to tell us that all of these people are oppressed, and then these people then stand up on a stage with a mic in a very privileged position talking about how they were oppressed. But if you were so oppressed, you wouldn't be in the position that you're in, the privileged position that you were in. You'd be overlooked. You wouldn't then have the opportunity to go up there then and tell every white person they're racist because of the colour of their skin, like. Right? If America was so racist, as they say, well then how come gobshites like Lizzo can go on news media and go all over the world, right, and say that being obese is a healthy way of life, right? If there was racism in America, if there's such racism in America, well then explain Barack Obama then. Again, there is no logic to these or bullshit, right? Because the bottom line is this: the level of racism that you are saying is out there in the planet amongst the people in society is absolutely overblown and is bullshit, right? So the bottom line is this: don't cry to me. And this is what this is why I hate these grifters, race baiting grifters is what I call them, right? Because anytime anybody calls them out and gives them facts, they play the victim card. Me. And what's happened with BLM is basically it's given today's generation of black people a self-entitlement, thinking that they're old, thinking that white people should kiss their asses. Well, let me tell you, I'll never kiss anybody's ass, right? And you won't get me to apologise for something that I had nothing to absolutely do with. Nothing to do with. Today's people had nothing to do with it. Okay? We shouldn't have to be sorry for what people did hundreds of years ago. If that's the case, then every British person that follows me should be kissing my ass then, because of what their government did to me. But I'm not demanding that from my English friends or my British friends, right? Because the bottom line is I don't have that mentality. That mentality hasn't been drummed into me, right? But that mentality is being drummed into these assholes. And then what's their response then? They go around and they burn everywhere. Rob, loot. They're still doing it to this day, robbing and looting. You see videos of them going into supermarkets because that's what BLM created. It created a self-entitlement. So because they believe they're old, oh, it's okay to rob a supermarket. It's okay to rob people's livelihoods. Because poor us, we're the victims. But that's what they wanted, folks. The ultimate aim of all of these little movements, including Me Too and all, right? Me Too was to turn women against men. We had the feminists then. They were forcing all of that propaganda down everybody's throats. And what happened? You know, there's women out there that don't trust men, and there's men out there that don't trust women, right? Again, every movement, everything that the left have done is designed to cause division. JWC, sorry, no, but I want reparations for the famine. I need a new sofa. See that? We can take the piss out of ourselves. See that though, right? That's what us Irish people do, right? We don't go crying to everyone. Remember what happened to us? We never forget it, of course. Of course we never forget it. right? We'll never forget that, right? But the bottom line is, we're not going and demanding that everybody pay us their due now because of what happened there, people, for 800 years. We moved on. We moved on. We're finally at a place with our UK neighbours where we can kind of get on with each other and tolerate each other. Do you know what I mean? The people themselves don't have an issue with each other. Obviously, you have your extremists on both sides. Of course, you know what I mean? English patriots, Irish patriots. You know what I mean? They'll never, but the majority of the rest of us, living, we don't give a shit about that. We just want to get on with our lives. Do you know what I mean? But that's what all of these movements have done. They were designed to fracture us all. They were designed to keep us all apart and put us in little boxes and little labels. And do you know what the sad thing about it is? As a society, as a human race, we fell for it. Well, not all of us, of course. Most of us are wide awake. But with the left having the power that they had, been promoted by governments, being driven by the media, the propaganda, the use of TV shows, through the music industry and all of that, they were able to do a lot of damage, and they have done a lot of damage to society. Nobody could tell me that we're better off now than we were, say, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we were in a much better and healthier position as a human race. We were moving forward. Everybody was getting on. Right? Did we have our problems in society in individual countries? Of course we did. Did we have wars in those times? Of course we did. Right? But the main thing is that the sense of community, the sense of people sticking together was always there, no matter what. And it didn't matter the skin colour. Right? If there was a major catastrophe, we all came out, we condemned it together as one. Right? And now you look at us now, right? We're all divided by fucking skin colour. Society is completely broken down in every fucking country, right? And we're at each other's throats, and the world is in a much worse place than what it was 20 years ago. And there's even threat of nuclear war hanging over our heads again. Right? Just like we did in the 80s during the Cold War. Right? But I would even say we're in a worse position now than we were even in the 80s. Right? And that's what they've done. Right? They broke down all of the decent things that we had in society that kept us all going, and they've slowly taken them away, eroded them away, and put in their new fucking crap. Right? And it's all designed to keep us all fucking at each other's throats. Right? So when someone calls me a racist, I do take offense to it, because I'm not racist, right? I don't hate anybody out there, right? I don't want to be hating anybody out there either, right? But if people attack me because of my skin colour and because they think I have privilege, when I grew up in a small little flat with me ma, dad, and 5 other fucking kids in one bedroom, don't fucking tell me I had privilege, right? I had to fight for everything that I fucking got. Right? Just like a lot of people in this fucking chat did. We didn't get things easy like everybody has it easy to fucking day. You can fail upwards today. Listen, you can go on, if you're a bloke or a girl over the age of 21 or wherever it is you have to be on OnlyFans, right? You go on there, right? You can fucking become a millionaire over fucking night now. That's how easy it's been fucking made for you. Right? We never had any of that shit in our day. We had to work for everything that we earned. Now all you have to do is just fucking show off a bit of your body and you fucking make money. Right? And these same people are fucking moaning. I tell you, none of these kids that are alive today would have been able to handle the 70s, 80s, or even the 90s. Right? Or even the 90s, for fuck's sake. Right? When we were getting into the when we were getting all the technology. Right? We even called it back then. It was going to ruin fucking society, and everybody laughed at us. Even David Bowie called it in the early fucking 90s. He did. He called it. He said the internet would ruin fucking society. It'd have its benefits, but overall, it would be the destruction of society. And he was absolutely right. And fair enough, there's a bit of a, it's a bit ironic that I do say that, because obviously if social media wasn't around, I wouldn't be talking to you guys today. But I will say this, I do believe that social media has given, a voice to people out there that shouldn't have a voice. And I'll just say it out straight. Some will argue that I shouldn't have a voice on social media platforms, and maybe they're right. Maybe they are right. I don't believe so. I don't believe that I've said that, and that's controversial anyway. I'm not the one that's promoting certain shit to kids and saying it's okay, go ahead, ruin your life, ruin your physical body. Do you know what I mean? Ruin your mental health. Like, I'm not going around doing that. I talk about TV shows and stuff that's happening around the world. Like, that's what I do. But none of those kids would survive, right? They'd have to actually work and earn their way in life. See, that's what it is. We made it too easy for them. We made it too easy for them. But the only reason why we got to that point was because we did make it too easy for them, and the generations before that made it easy for them, right? Because of the shit we did, right? And now those very same people, self-entitled little twats, are telling us that we're the worst thing to happen, we're the worst generation and all of this stuff and blah, 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 and we hate them. We don't hate you, we just think he's our lazy, self-entitled little twats that play the victim card whenever given the opportunity to do so. And another thing, I said this to someone the other day, they were slagging someone off that I know, right? And I was like, because they didn't like what they tweeted. And I just wrote this, I said, listen, you're the one that goes out to seek their posts, right? It's the same with people that criticise me. I'll say the same thing to you guys. You guys seek out my posts or seek out my streams, right? I don't ask you to watch. Nobody's forcing you to watch. You guys choose to watch, therefore you guys choose to be offended, right? So as far as I'm concerned, it's on you and not me. And that's what I said to this idiot that was given out to a friend of mine who served in the Irish Army. You choose to be offended by his posts. He didn't force you to read his posts. You could choose to ignore him, but you chose to be offended. And that's the way I'm looking at it now. If anybody has a go at me, my response is going to be, well, you're the one that chose to be offended. Simple as that. I didn't ask you to follow me. Anyway, look, we'll be back on Wednesday for our panel review of 73 yards. Be an interesting one. As I said, the episode has polarised the fans, but I did predict that on Friday night. I did say it polarised a lot of fans. You'd either be in the category you thought was very good. There'd be some in the category that thought, it wasn't very good. And then there was people that thought it was confusing. And I said all of those things. And that's the way it's transferred. But as I said, it has gone up in the ratings, but just a slight increase. Nothing to be really screaming for the rooftops. But I'm pretty sure the people that spin the ratings will actually be highlighting the fact that it did gain, and they will absolutely blow it out of proportion. But remember, these are the same people that are saying that we should obviously, take the 28-day figures into consideration rather than the overnights and the 7-day. but they're basically now just latching onto anything. The AI is rumored to be 74 for the Space Babies and 73 for the Devil's Card. If that's the case, it's worse than Jodie Whittaker's era. I just want to tell you that the AI during the Whittaker era was roughly on the 80 mark, but it did decline down to the 70s twice, I think, during the Whittaker era. And it wasn't even as low as 74 and 73. I think it was 78. It could have been even 79, but it did dip below 80. And that dips below 80, as JWC Review said in the chat earlier on, is considered unacceptable. And it is unacceptable. Even when the other side, and it'll be interesting because the other side did actually bring up the AI and said that it was disappointing. But you know what would be very telling now? Let's see how they spin the AI this time, right? Let's see if they say, no, the AI is, wait, you see, I can guarantee you that's what's going to happen. They're going to spin this AI. So we'll see. But if it is that bad, folks, well, then you can forget about the other side's spin has been completely thrown into the wastebasket, and they can't hide behind any false figures because the AI will prove how bad it is. And if it is on 74 for the Space Babies and 73 for the Devil's Card, well, then Doctor Who is in serious trouble indeed. And if it goes any lower and it goes into the 60s, folks, then it's the final end for Doctor Who. There'll be no denying that this show is on its last legs, and you know, I think they'll pull the plug on it. I really do. If the AI continues to go down. Anyway, we leave it there for now. I'll be back on Wednesday for our panel review, so come and join us with the usual guests, and we'll be giving you our thoughts and feelings and our rating for 73 yards. And of course, I am back on Friday for the latest installment of Doctor Who, which is what's a Bubble and Dot, or Dot and Bubble, whatever the fuck it's called. It looks absolutely ridiculous anyway, a big stupid fucking slug monster thing. So yeah, so that's what we've got to look forward to. Maybe more witchcraft or paranormal fucking shit to come as well, by the way. Because remember, this is the new Doctor Who. Woo! Witches! Here we go! You know, I won't be surprised if fucking Harry Potter shows up next. Oh, Bubble and Squeak. The Bubble and Squeak. Is it called Bubble and Squeak? I think it's called Bubble and Dot, isn't it? Or something. I don't know. I don't give a shit. We'll watch it anyway. But some slug monster is in it anyway. We did see the promo photos of it, and it looked absolutely ridiculous. So we'll see how good or bad this shit show is. But remember, Chris RTD did say that 73 yards was the best thing that he wrote for Doctor Who. So if that was the best, well then it just means that the standard goes down from now. So yeah, be interesting. Anyway, we'll leave it there, folks. Have a good afternoon. It's still sunny trade. I decided to go early today, just to, so I could chill because I had a family do yesterday. So some drinks were drank. It was my niece's first Holy Communion, so drinks and how us Irish get together. Loads of food, drink, and plenty of people in and out of my man and dad's house. It was mad, the amount of visitors. It was nice. The other brother was there as well, down from Wexford with his kids and his missus, and so it was good old Hooli. So yeah, she was out of her face. She was absolutely hilarious, I have to say. I was fine. I could have stayed for another hour or two and had a few more, but she was at the stage where she just had to be brought home. But it was a good night. So we're still kind of, I don't get hangovers or that like that. I was grand when I woke up. But it does it does take its toll on me, like, you know what I mean, because I don't drink that often as I used to. So, you know, it's only really special occasions I'll have a drink. But when I have a drink, I have a drink. Now, I don't binge drink, like, if people think that, because I do have, like, I will drink now. Pre-season be coming up, the Euros will come up. Even though Ireland's not in the Euros now, I'll have a couple of beers because it's the summer. So I'll have a couple of beers during the week and all of that. So it's not as if I binge drink. It's just I don't drink as often because I don't go out that often to have a few drinks, and it's too expensive anyway. But you know, it was good. Yeah, got to meet the family's new dog as well, Daisy. She didn't want to come anywhere near me. It's the only dog in the history of dogs that didn't want to have anything to do with me. I was actually gutted yesterday, but yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day. Dave Cullen just posted a new Who video. There you go, Dave Cullen. I know everybody listens to another fellow Irishman, and Dave Cullen. Of course, Dave is absolutely huge and has been throwing out some great content over the years. And he did some great videos during the Whitaker Chibnall era as well. So yeah, go and check it out. Anyway, Colin is in the chat as well. Thanks for that. Matt is in the chat. Thanks for your comments as well. JWC Reviews. President Lemon was also in the chat there as well. Lee was in the chat. And we had Robert and XSM was also in the chat as well. And I think I saw Michael there earlier on as well, if I'm correct in saying. And I don't think I've missed anybody else. Oh, Nigel was in the chat as well. So thank you everybody and Mark, of course, there, Mark Harvey. So thanks everybody for joining us this afternoon. Listen, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It's a bit of a cloudy one here, but it's one of those, you know, it's very humid. You can feel the heat, like, but yeah. A bit cloudy, but it's still feckin' warm, if you know what I mean. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your afternoon anyway, and stay safe, look after yourselves, and I'll be back again soon. Might come on tomorrow afternoon as well. I'll let you know. But I will be streaming on X maybe a little bit later on. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do it today or not. But if I will, it'll be the Irish Zone. So come and join me for that if you're on X. Right now, the YouTube channel is on a bit of a suspension. But we'll be back on that YouTube channel soon. That's the Irish Zone over there. We've actually passed to, while I've been suspended, actually, we were on 1,700 or something when I got me ban. We are now, we're over the 2,000 subscriber mark on the Irish Zone. So I just want to kind of put things in perspective here, right, with the other channel. So I've been running this channel here for 7 years, nearly. It'll be 7 years this year, right, around 6, either 6 or 7. It's definitely, I think, 6. I think we are on our 7th year. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to go back to the very first video, but I'm pretty sure it's probably 7 years, right? And in 7 years, I've gotten 2,410 subscribers, right? Now, I rebranded the other channel about a month and a half ago. And it was a gaming channel, right? So I had 400 subscribers when it was a gaming channel, and this is the thing that blows me away. The people that obviously subscribe to my channel as a gamer have stuck around. So in just over those couple of weeks, we've gained over 1,600 subscribers. I mean, the channel's gone absolutely bloody mental. So I just want to say to everybody that has subscribed and did stick with me, by the way, on the other channel, you know what, I'm absolutely blown away. I'm grateful, humble for it. You know, I'm just trying to keep people informed of what's going on in Ireland politically. YouTube is not my best friend at the moment because they're trying everything in their power to suppress what we're actually throwing out there. But I promise you, we'll be back with a lot more content because I have saved a lot of videos, like I did the last time. I've got lots of posts to put up as well. So we will be back soon. I'll tell you now. I should be able to tell you, actually. Let me see. Bear with me. But yeah, as I said, I just can't get over it. So I just want to thank everybody again because it's something that I'm as I said, I do be out there with a lot of other people, and we see it firsthand what's going on in this fucking country of ours, and it's not nice. As I said, everywhere you go, every country you're in, there is absolute chaos, unfortunately. So how long have I got? Come on, I have to go into I have to go into the studio. Right, I'll tell you now. I actually want to know how long is left. Actually, I say there's at least another 6 or 7 days left. Watch. Right, here we go. And you know what? It just seemed weird to me as well. My suspension happened after that incident happened. And 8 days left. 8 days. But there you go. I've gotten a quarter of a million views in actually sorry, it's got up to 360,000 393 views so far from the last 4 weeks. Wow. Anyway, as I said, that's the Eurozone. Go and subscribe to me because when I come back, I'm going to need all the support that I can get. I need you to be sharing my videos as well because there's a lot of stuff going on in this country. It's getting worse day by day. There are brave people out there, approaching politicians and asking them the questions that the journalists won't ask, and the politicians are laughing in their faces. Meanwhile, we've got Garda Síochána over here, using bully tactics to suppress Irish people and to stop them from peacefully protesting. So yeah, that's the Eurozone. So if you haven't subscribed, please do and support me there. If you haven't subscribed here, subscribe here. We'll be talking about Doctor Who, and then when Doctor Who is over, obviously we'll get into the Doctor Who news if there's any, and then we broaden our horizons then until Doctor Who comes back then, and then we'll be talking about the industry as a whole and topics that some of the chat or the panelists want to talk about. So that's what we'll be doing. Also as well, Christian from the Legend of the Travelling Tardis, I just want to give him a shout out because obviously, he was on the channel before he got sick. So I will be arranging something with Christian again. So just in case he's listening, we'll be arranging something with Christian again. And we will have him back on here on the channel because I know some of you guys do really enjoy Christian when he's on. So we'll do that. And normally when Christian comes on, we cover Hollywood because he doesn't want to be covering Doctor Who. So it kind of suits. So yeah, join us for that. Anyway, I'm off. Have a good one, folks. Here's the old trailer. Bye-bye.